Hey everybody, Frankie Day here. Okay guys, as pertaining to the double feature as promised last night, but ended up being today. Got too involved with F3F last night, folks. I lost track in time. Okay guys, the video for right now is the first and last update for Atomic Dogs Brian's 48-hour community Father's Day group build. And on the next video, it'll be 8 o'clock this evening, that when the build expires, this video will be made and the final reveal. Before we flip over the camera to the progress build report on the F3F, so far the model is 90% done. All it needs to do is go ahead and just attach the remaining parts to it, such as the wings, interplane struts, the propeller assembly and cowling and everything, and painting and rigging is finished. So I got the aircraft built in its entirety. So it's all been primed, ready for final paint, which is going to be it's all going to be metallized aluminum and with chrome yellow top wing. It's going to be a Marine Corps squadron. Flying beer barrel. They've built a Marine F3F-3 before. It's more or less all his Navy. So I kind of like the tail ribbon bands that the Marines incorporated on these things. So I just chose to go ahead and use those decals on this build. And it's going quite nicely. Landing gear functions very, very well. Landing gear is very delicate, these things, fellas, you know. And a word of caution, I have enough experience building these 1/32 scale Grumman Gulf Hawks and F3Fs. Back in the 1960s, they're all over the stores. I mean, every hobby shop or grocery store you walked into, they were there. And so, anyway, you know, the biggest problem with the kit itself, you chose to build it as a gimmick model, like I'm doing this one here, an operating model. The only problem is the propeller shaft, folks. You got that gear goes through there, and sometimes you twist that propeller, that gear will break off from the axle, and the landing gear has to be operated manually, and that can cause breakage. And when it comes to that point, you might just glue them down. So 99 9/10 of you out there probably glue them down anyway, but I'm observing this kit as is. So everything, this is a functioning model, does everything but fly. And while it's flying, I'm going to go ahead and pull the camera over here and have you guys take a peek and I think a gander at it before the final reveal gets here, which will be 8 o'clock this evening. It'll be painted in its entirety, fully rigged too. Okay guys, here we go, boys. We'll sing this over to the F3F if she don't mind, if the old beer barrel don't mind. There it is, fellas, right there. All these parts on here have been primed, ready for assembly and painting. And get it all fully primed and everything. It's been filled with filler. And so it's all ready to be painted and assembled. So that top wing will go on last. And everything else will go on the model as I paint it. So next step is I'm going to paint everything aluminum, with the exception of the top wing, and mask off same, and go ahead and paint the chrome yellow on top of there, and add my wing walk details. Mount the engine, paint same, paint cowling, decals, rigging. Lastly, the canopy, and she's ready for the final reveal. I'll put it away in the box somewhere so she won't get broken. This is a classic model itself, folks. This thing was very, very popular back in the 1970s. And it's quite appealing to people that's around my age, which we grew around it. And growing up with these kits right here brings me back a lot of years, brings back my younger youth when you get something like this for $2, opposed to paying something up to $100. And they're a dandy collection, folks. Any of you guys got these in your stash, hang on to them because they get very, very scarce. I was very fortunate that I had enough sense to buy a next one of these and add to my stash pile. And I've got the 1962 original release kit above it, which this model was based off of. Reeboks, I should say. And so I got that mustache, and maybe someday I'll build that too as well. You can see the fat, chubby, chunky little lines of this little pipsqueak fighter plane right here. Grumman model G-22, which is known as the F3F-3. And Major Alfred Williams, ex-Marine aviator pilot from the glorious days of the golden age of aviation back in the 30s. He took one of these, excuse me folks, got too much smoke going the wrong way. Anyway, he bought one of these one time, and sponsored by the Gulf Oil Company, he had it changed to the Grumman Gulf Hawk, which is a civilian version of the F3F fighter, and used it more or less as an expedition team. I met Mr. Williams back in 1948, and I got his autograph, and his airplane resides in the Smithsonian Institution, which is now the National Aerospace Museum. You can see it hanging aloft, landing gear retracted, and its brilliant color of Gulf orange with a blue-white trim. Felt the bill for the Grumman Gulf Hawk. So this is this original military variant right here, folks. This is the last of the biplane fighters that was used by the United States Navy to the end of the monoplane, which this thing was superseded by the F-2A Brewster Buffalo and the F4F-1 Wildcat, Wiley Wildcat. And a lot of history. These things are a very colorful airplane for the day, and they're quite different. And the landing gear is actually Mr. Bob Bruskin. He asked me, he says, one of my comments about the landing gear, were they cranked up? And I said, yes sir, they were cranked up. It takes 29 cranks to crank the landing gear up, and you got a locking pin. When you get to 29th crank, it'll lock. You manually got to take your hand and lock it in position. And the lowering it the procedure is reversed. And you got to make quite certain you want to let go of that handle, folks. You let go of that crank handle right there. That landing, when gravity allows, that landing gear will come out of the well, and it can present some very serious problems. So actually, they had no hydraulic system back in those days. It was more or less hand operated. Everything was mechanical back in the days until the advent of hydraulics, and it kind of no more with the cranky landing gear. Landing gear was attracted by using a train drive system with a worm gear up to the handle. And it's a small handle, about 4 inches long, and has a black handle to it where you get your inside your fingers, where you can grab it and crank it up as you go up. And there's a little locking pin. You can take it and push that pin in and keep the landing gear from going down. But there was no inspection panels, no indicator lights knowing your landing gear is up or down, so they more or less used the stops as knowing the landing gear is fully lowered. That'd be that. Okay, guys. Right now, this concludes the first update, build report progress for Brian's Atomic Dogs 48-hour community group build. On the next video, this airplane will be in its final reveal and done. It'll be finished. And go on to something else, folks. We got plenty out there shaking down. Okay, guys, enough of this. We'll swing this camera around to me, yours truly right here, and finish up the video. Okay, guys, that concludes that. So that's just the update, what's going down, and keep you guys busy a little bit. This ain't to keep me busy. I got to get hot on it, get the finish on this thing. And that'll take some time. Painting takes time, especially a good paint job. So take your time, and this. I got about another maybe 6-7 more hours before it's over with, and this thing will be done. Okay, folks, I'll let this primer dry, and I'll go ahead and get my paint prepared and give her the business. Okay, guys, our next video will be 8 o'clock this evening on this here airplane here, and the final reveal will be posted. So, I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in. May God bless. Happy modeling. Please subscribe. Make Mama happy. And we'll catch you guys next video. Bye, fellas.